Hey guys, welcome to As Pharmacist Tish. I am so glad to be here, and I have a very special guest today. Y'all may see her in the comments. Her name is Frankie from Canada, right?
Yeah. Hello. How you guys doing?
I just wanted to thank you first of all, Frankie. You have been along with everyone else, but you really so much more. Just come, you support it from day one. It's hard sometimes to keep going and absorbing everyone's pain and all the things that they go through, but people like you and all of the people that support the channel have really given me the energy to keep going. So I just want to
And
thank you so much.
thank you. Thank you.
And before we get started, I wanted to thank everyone who's here thus far. We have Mary Young. Thank you for being here. We have V Hinton. Thank you, V. It's so nice to finally meet everybody. Hey, Teacher Chronicles. I appreciate I've seen you before. I appreciate you for being here. Raymond, Mr. I like to pick and choose. I mean, funny Raymond. Glad to see you here. And just everyone. Where y'all sit? Y'all from like Ohio? We have Canada. We have California. Tony Samuel for Ohio. Thank you for being here. Let's see. So yeah. So hey V, how you doing? Thank y'all for coming. So either way, so we have Frankie here. So we have our co-host, and we're going to basically talk about I gave some options if y'all wanted to talk about like addiction, if y'all want to talk about traumas, or if y'all want to talk about like what's the root cause of like homelessness and stuff of that nature. But we're going to talk about homelessness, and we're going to get into, because we get a lot of comments and a lot of concerns about interviewing the homeless, as you probably seen before, Frankie.
Yeah.
Um, and a lot, most of it is very encouraging. And it's, the people, and actually the homeless people, they do watch it. A lot of them, they do have cell phones, like the Obama phones that are free, and they actually do watch the show. So all of the comments, they do read them and they do appreciate them for the most
And the super
part.
chats go to them too, right?
Yes.
If you the give one or the gift one, they go straight to the clients, right?
Right. Well, what happens is it comes to me and then I give it to them. Yeah. So when I
Oh,
see
okay,
them, I
okay.
actually give them the cash. Yeah. So all of that, and they hold me accountable too. They look through their feed and see their video, and they're like, "Hold up, did anyone give anything for me?" So they can't hold me very accountable. And even with the cash apps, they actually go to them as well. Whoever y'all choose for me to give to, that's who they do give to. So I want to thank y'all so much for that. So, but going back to so first of all, before we start, Frankie, tell us about you. What brought you to the channel, and what is it that you getting from the channel? Um,
Well, I about like 20 years ago, I used to be unfortunately homeless, and
mhm.
I was wrapped up in some things I shouldn't be doing, and and basically lived a lifestyle that one way was nice, but another way was self-destructive, and it made me be around people I didn't want to be like somebody I didn't want to be. And then one day I'm like had enough of it, and I'm like, you know what, I'm still young, I'm gonna do it. So when I was 25 or 24 or 25, I got sober, and I got released from prison, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna change my life now. And since that day, I only been to jail twice
Mhm.
in 25 years,
Okay.
and 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 that was over a misunderstanding, and the charges got dropped.
Okay.
So I basically been out of trouble for a very long time. And
Okay.
when I see your channels, it reminds me of, you know what, I can remember how now I have everything I want. I have a house. I have an expensive phone. I have everything.
Okay.
I have everything I need. I'm not rich, but I have everything I need. So I remember the days that I didn't have anything, and being in that position, and knowing, you know what, I have nowhere to sleep that night, nowhere to eat. You know
Mm-hmm.
you know, how am I going to get, how am I going to get the stuff I need? You know, how am I going
Right.
to do this? You know, how am I going to survive? And that is there is traumatizing. No one wakes up in the morning and wants to be in that position. Now, when they don't want to be homeless, it just doesn't happen. It happens one choice after another choice leads to other consequences. You
Right.
know, and it's and eventually, if you don't, if you're not wise enough and you don't see what could happen, you can slip into those ways and you get
Right.
lost. And it's not like those people, they never mean to be like that. It's it's just it's just what happens. And you know what I'm saying. I'm having a hard time explaining.
Right. You're fine. So let me ask you this. So you said you were homeless for how long?
I was homeless from probably from when I was 17 to probably about 24.
So what made you come to a point where you just got sick and tired of it and you wanted to turn? What was that? Did you have a rock bottom moment that made
Oh
you just,
yeah,
yeah, or did,
my
because
rock bottom.
mhm.
You want to hear it?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Well, what it was basically was is I remember getting in trouble for something I didn't do, and I know
Hmm.
it sounds ironic, but it's something like I made a comment to somebody and they didn't like that, so they told a lie on me, and I ended up going to jail. And it was 7 months I be in there, and I'm thinking, you know, I don't want to live this life no more. You know, all I do is, you know, the drinking, the, you know, they doing the club drugs and all that.
Yeah.
Like they're not it's not good, it's not good, you know. And I said, if I can get out, you know, I'll change my ways. And I said, you know, I never want to be able to have no roof over my head. I was tired of like having no money, having, you
Right.
know, I was just tired of it. And I said, you know what, I deserve better. I'm still young, and I'm going to make it out. And I did. Simple as that. Even though it was hard,
Mm.
you have to really want to do it. And if there's a
Right.
way, you do it. They do it. Trust me. And even people don't notice that there are improvements that they make, little choices that they do, impacts them greatly. So even if they
Right.
don't notice their progress, they're still making progress, or backwards too. You know, it goes both ways.
So let me ask you this, and if you don't want to answer it, please just say leave me alone. But did you have an addiction during this time?
Oh yeah.
To what?
I to cocaine,
Mhm.
alcohol, and booze. Like the alcohol I was really into. The cocaine I did when I was totally drunk,
Mhm.
and the marijuana I've done every day, and I still struggle to the day with this.
Okay, I mean, but marijuana, that's, legal in most
Yeah.
cases. So let me ask you this, Frankie, because I had a incident recently with a person. I'm not gonna say young man or young woman because but because I don't want to identify them.
Oh,
But
sorry. One last thing. Sorry.
uh-huh.
I'm also on opiate medication because I recreationally took an opiate and I didn't know it was addictive. So now I'm on Suboxone, and I'm on 3 milligrams. I'm coming off of it. So
Okay.
I know what it's like to be with the opiates, what's going on with it, and the sickness and stuff.
Right.
I've been through that, but I totally forgot to mention that just now.
Right, I got you. So what amazing. So the young person I had an incident with, I really thought, Frankie, that they were ready to get off the streets. I'm a nonprofit, me and my partner, and we're working towards getting like transitional housing. So the interviews kind of help with the process of really getting to the psyche of what's
Yeah,
going on, where are
like the
they at.
questionnaires.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically it's questionnaire. So what threw me off was this one young person. I really thought they were ready. I thought they were ready to leave the streets, but it was as you could probably say as well, the streets is an addiction within itself. Like
Oh,
some
for
people,
sure.
they cannot be in a house.
It's not just the drugs and the alcohol. It's a lifestyle. It's
Right.
having a purpose to go out and do what you have to do, and it's just excitement. Like I live in not so much of a big part of a city now, but I
Mm-hmm.
used to live downtown, a major city, and it took me like 3 years just to adjust to the life of being in the suburbs instead of being downtown. So
Right.
I can understand that perfectly.
Right, you say yeah, like for being downtown. So I really thought they just needed a little, some mentoring. Being a young person, we had a great conversation. It gave me a lot of ideas about the nonprofit, yada yada yada. All right, so long story short, they had an accident. Well, someone intentionally shot at them, hit them twice. They had a chance. They went to the hospital, of course, to get the bullets out, et cetera, blah, blah, blah. And what threw me off was I felt that was a perfect opportunity. The hospital have like social workers. I'm going to the hospital to see them, to give support. Even when the family members weren't really there. And this person totally, because of addiction to crack, totally flipped out on me.
Oh man,
Just totally. I mean, I'm just going through the chasing behind them, just going through all this mess with them. It just blew. What? I guess my question is, when
I
is
think
enough is
I,
enough?
I think I think I understand.
Okay.
Now, did they want something from you personally, or like did they ask you for money or something? Like what were you trying to do to help them? Like what was the cause of the anger? Like because
What
it depends.
what they want? What they wanted to get drugs, but that wasn't going to happen.
Okay, okay.
But I just thought it was a good time for them to be able to be free and clear and start all over again. So my question was to you, what made you get tired of the lifestyle even after two bullet holes in their extremities, after and then they were so surprised that their friends didn't give a darn, just like with
You
you when your friend lied on you and had you go to prison. And
yeah,
that was your wake up call to be like, hold
yeah.
up, this lifestyle sucks and no one is your friend. Like that didn't register to this person that they had no friends.
You know what? I could honestly say that I think I have no, I don't. I think I have a clue of maybe since they were so caught up in how do I? I'm just gonna say how it is. Like I'm just gonna like honest. I just say how things are. They were if they were jonesing or they were like really feeling for like the drugs, the feeling will overcome them. It's not that they were mad at you personally. It's the matter of the fact that they didn't have access to it, and
Right.
that they would have to find another way, and that the way that they thought that you was gonna help them. That probably pissed them off and thought that they wouldn't do that. It couldn't be done, so they're panicking and they're thinking, "Oh my God, how am I going to do this now?" And then reversely they're going to anger that to you, but really they're not angry. Even though it's angering to you, they're and some people, not all
Mm,
of them, but some people, it's kind of like a wake up, like help me please, but like not as in like they don't know what to do, so they just freak out and lash out, and
right.
then eventually but eventually, as hard as it is, because I remember there are times like when I didn't have it, like I had no way to do whatever, and or get whatever, and have no money, and if I didn't want to do something that like illegal or something, I would have to just face it and just okay, like I had to just go through this, you know what I mean? and
Right.
and and sometimes that's it seems hard to say, but that's the only thing that will get you off of that stuff, is feeling that pain. And once you're tired of feeling that pain to a certain point,
Okay.
you will know when you're ready to quit. Like I remember, yeah, exactly. What this guy says,
We
an
say
addict is not ready. You cannot force them into sobriety. They have to. You can't force them. They have to be ready. But if they're not ready, they won't do it. But when they're ready, they will.
right.
Sometimes you have to like deny them and not provide it, because giving in all the time makes it worse.
Right, it
I'm
does.
not saying you give them in, but I'm saying like if people like
Right.
if everyone gave in and said, okay, I like if I wanted to go get weed every day. And if I didn't have the money, I would say, "Oh, give me some weed every day." And I'd be like, "No, like just no, you can't have it." Like So if you don't provide it, it'll slowly get into a routine that they'll get used to it, slow and slower, and then
Uh-huh.
eventually it'll become to a point that they don't think about it as much. Because when I was off the alcohol,
Uh-huh.
I only drink sorry, 3 or 4 times in the last 4 years.
Okay,
Now,
wow.
yes, and the thing is, And the thing is, I used to drink all the time, like every day almost. And the thing is, I just stopped because even through the pain every day that wasn't done, that I
Right.
didn't do it, I got closer to my goal. And even though it was a hard 6 7 months, I eventually got in the pattern of not doing it. So now I don't even think about it, and it's not a part of my life anymore. So
Okay,
that
that's
and
excellent.
yeah,
That's
that's how I
excellent.
do it with the drugs and stuff. Like I just got it out of my mind that it's not healthy, it's not good,
Mm,
and now I don't even crave it. I don't think about it. It's not
right.
part of my life,
Okay.
and
Okay. So, but check this out. So, what do you do about something like this? Let me play this real quick. Hold on. Hold on. Is it a choice to be
Yeah,
outside?
damn right it's a choice.
So, tell me this: how is it being a woman living the street life?
But I like the outside life. Okay, that's my problem. I don't give a damn who see this and judge me. I am who I am, baby, and I love it.
So,
yeah,
what do you?
some people love being like that. Like I know individuals of the who's like that, and some people just love that lifestyle,
Right.
and they
So,
never.
what is it addictive about the life that's outside where you just cannot get integrated back into the community? What is it about the outside life that's addictive within itself?
Well, number one is I believe personally that there's no responsibility. Like you don't
Okay.
have to pay. Like I remember when I didn't have to pay a cell phone bill. I didn't have to pay monthly rent. I didn't have to pay for food. I could get a
Right.
shelter. I could like my money could get from the government for social insurance or something, or like you know what I mean. Like there's always ways. You know what I mean.
Okay.
So why would I work 9 to 5 when I could go and sell drugs or you know what I mean, and then work for harder for less, and get less out of it, and then have to wait every month to get paid, and you know what I mean, when you can just
So
have it
so
now,
so
now.
so you're saying no responsibility is the
Yeah,
attractiveness
it's
of the
instant.
outside life.
Yeah, and it's instant. It's like you get instant thing. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Instant gratification, and
Okay.
yeah, it's a bunch of stuff.
Love for All says, "Yep, he's correct. They totally agree with you
It's
on
true.
that." Yeah, it's really heartbreaking though, Frankie. Where I've like I said, I interviewed like I think over 100 people, and like you get into their lives and you really thinking, yes, they are ready. You know, whenever the support comes, then we're going to be able to put them into some housing or whatnot, but they don't want it. You
That's
know, but
true.
the, you say
It's not that they don't want it. Some people don't want it, yes, but some people are so wrapped up in their illness, and I believe that drug addiction is
mhm.
an illness.
Oh yes.
I believe that if you do something bad, that makes you, that could be your own immortality, but it doesn't make people as a whole immoral or not. I think it's a mental health issue.
All right. Okay. True. Let me say V Hinton says no accountability.
Yes, that's true.
The people they are on the streets with are doing the same thing. Drugs, equal drugs. Yep. That's true. So let me ask y'all this: V Hinton, Love for All, Teacher Chronicles, Mary, everyone else. That's Tony. Everyone. Sorry if I left you out. Let me answer me this. Okay. So I get a lot of comments about interviewing and how is rude and how is this not helpful and it's exploitative, I think is the word. How do y'all put in the comment section? How do y'all feel about that? Like genuinely, Frankie, how do you feel? You know, being a person that used to be homeless, how do you feel about when someone like me come up to you and ask about your life?
You know what? I'm gonna say probably something that you probably wouldn't even think. I would say that the way you do it is a proper way to do it. If
Mhm.
you beat around the bush and you sugarcoat it, it's gonna make you think that, oh, you know, oh, it's not such a bad deal. But if you let them know that, hey, this is not okay, like this is what you're facing. This is what you can do to change. This is what's going on. And instead of saying, oh, it's not so bad as it is. You know, it's bad, but you know, maybe it's not. You know what I mean? Like you
Mhm.
don't sugarcoat it, and you're straight up. But the thing is, you're straight up without lowering their dignity. So if you was to interview, if I was down in Charlottesville and you came up to interview me, I would do that because the way you do it is respectful, and even though it's making people be honest and realize what's going on, it's the proper way to do it because some of the social workers and the way they do it
Mhm.
is the wrong way. They baby them and they say it's not your fault, but really, everything you do in life is your fault, even positive or negative. So I believe that that how you do it and how you respect them, and it doesn't take much. There's, believe me, Tish.
Mhm.
That's why I always stuck with the channel, because the way you do it, you have respect for them, and you don't,
Okay.
but at the same time, you put you ask for accountability of what's going on.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank y'all. Let me see. Teacher Chronicles said, I liked your videos. Thank you, teacher. V Hinton says, you are not exploiting the homeless. You are making the community be aware of what is really going on in the
Exactly.
community. And to all of the people that do say, and I'm going to read the rest of the comments as well. When you have a problem and you really want to solve a problem, you can't do it in the dark. What is things, that's why it's already a bad situation, because a lot of things been done in the cloak, under the cloak of darkness. But
That's
to
true.
get help, to get funding, to get things to make things happen, because money makes the world go around. And no one wants to give any resources unless they can see that you're serious, and then you putting in the groundwork. And
That's true.
that's just all to it.
And
You see,
I agree with that.
they say Tony says, I feel like you allow people to be themselves and say how they feel. For me, I didn't want to talk. I would tell you that. And I believe you respect that. I think you just give them a platform. Thank you, Tony. Love Fall said it's a choice if they would want to interview, but I think it needs to be discussed. Your interview could be saving someone. You are respectful when you interview them. Thank you, Love for All. Sometimes that person may need to talk to someone that day. Yep. Tony Samuel said, I agree. Love all. Love all says, thanks. Just, oops. What happened? What happened to my Frankie? Okay, I guess Frankie will be back. Um, just don't give their location. Okay, excellent point. And okay, so before I keep reading, and wait for Frankie to come back, probably lost connection. That's a very good point you made, Mary. Hold on, let me get Frankie.
Sorry
Uh,
about
uh,
that.
oh, you're fine, babe. You're fine. Mary was making a point of made an excellent point of not giving their location. And I've had I had a like two or three example or instances where they thought their loved one was dead and gone. And they actually get to see, even though it wasn't in the best light, but they at least the family members did at least found out that their loved ones are alive, they're well, for the most part. But yeah, I did have situations where you know where you at the woman's shelter or something like that, you don't want to mix it up with that. And they do have like domestic violence homes and stuff like that. I don't go there because definitely those women and people need to be protected. Let me see. Rose says, please remain encouraged. You are doing a great job. Don't give up. And I pray God will give you strategies. You are destined to win. Thank you, Rose. Yeah, the strategies. I need some strategies. That's love for all. Hello, Rose. And thank you for coming, Rose. Yeah, but it's like I said, Frank, I just find it to be amazing. For example, like this gentleman here, like how tell me what you think, Frankie, is the mindset of this person?
At the moment?
Yes, I am.
How long you been homeless for?
Maybe 20 years.
For the last 20 years? You was in the church big time? What way? What do you mean?
I knew that God loved me. And
Yeah?
I loved him. And I went back out and started using again.
So so what's the experience that the things you've probably seen as well, Frankie? What's the thought process of how can you be homeless for a whole 20 years? I mean, it seems like that would be a lot of wear and tear on the body mentally, physically, and spiritually.
You know what? I So now now let me explain. When I was homeless, I wasn't executively homeless for from 17 to 25. I
Mhm.
had places here and there, but I was there were long periods when I didn't have, you know what I mean? Like
Okay, right.
so what so I remember I remember the furthest gap from when I had an apartment was about 3 4 years.
Okay.
And I remember like the whole entire of the whole being on the street. It lasted from 17 to 25, 24, 25. Is the way
Mhm.
it lasted so long is because you get wrapped up in it, and you don't every day you don't think as, oh, this is gonna be my future. Every day you live to party.
Yeah.
So it just, you know what, one day turns into another day, then the next day turns into another day, and then and on it goes, and unfortunately it becomes a lifestyle. And then that's what I'm trying to say, Tish. I have a hard time
Right.
explaining things.
So basically time flies.
Pretty much. Yeah,
Right. And next thing you know, it's
and
like 20 years later. So you're basically saying is he probably necessarily wasn't on the street for a whole 20 years, but was in that kind of that
oh,
transitional
no doubt.
lifestyle
He
for
could have
20
been.
years.
No, he could have been on the street for 20 years. No doubt about that. But what I'm
Oh,
saying
okay.
is, what I'm saying is like what's keeping him on the from staying is the addiction and the mental illness. If he was to seek help, and he could you know, like to get housing, I had to wait. I waited from when I was 23 to almost 25 to get my own apartment.
Wow.
You know, and since then I don't live in that system anymore. But I've housed ever since, and it's like if all somebody needs is one opportunity, and if they can turn that one opportunity and make a positive choice, then might not ever have to be in that position again. They just
Right.
they need a chance. They need an opportunity to come. If I didn't have an opportunity to get off the streets, I wouldn't have made it. You know what I mean? You just need
Right.
opportunity, and you need to be ready. But if you don't if you don't be careful, time will fly, and you waste your whole
Right.
life.
So let me ask you this. How did you keep your hope for those 3 years between not having housing to getting housing? I mean, because so much can happen in those 3 years. Were you in a shelter, or
Yeah,
you had to literally thug it out on the streets while you wait for an apartment to be available for 3 years
I
later?
I was in I mainly stayed in shelters when when I didn't have an apartment or my friend's place to stay at. So what would end up happening is if the shelters didn't have any places, or I was too intoxicated or something, they let,
Mhm.
if you drunk or high, they don't let you in, right? So you have to roam the streets or whatever, or find a hotel or something. But the thing is the thing is the sorry, I'm losing my mind. I'm nervous.
Oh,
But
you're
no,
fine. You're fine.
what's the question again?
We all family here. No,
What?
I mean, we were just answering how basically how time flies when you're having fun on
Yeah,
but
it just
basically in a
go.
nutshell.
Yeah, it basically, you know, if it could turn, it could go really fast, you know.
Yeah. We see V Hinton says we need people to be aware of the problem and come up with solutions to for assessing drugs. Everyone is at risk for being one hit away from losing everything to addiction. Excellent point.
That's true.
So so in the chat, put in the chat if y'all believe that addiction is a chronic disease. And then put two in the chat if you feel like it's something that can be helped. So one in the chat if you think it's a chronic disease that cannot be helped, and then two if you feel like is this something is a bad habit.
I
Um,
I feel like addiction could be like it could be like no choice at a certain time. But then when you're in the recovery stage, and then when you have clean time, then you can make a choice of, I can do drugs or not to do drugs. You know what I mean? So
mhm.
it's I think it's both.
Right. We had hold on. See, Love for All says one and two, depending on the individual. Teacher Chronicles also say one and two. And if anyone wants to come up on the panel and join Frankie and me, and give y'all input on live, y'all can. Y'all don't have to cam up if you don't want to. Y'all can keep your camera off if y'all want to come up and say what you want. Tony Samuel says, one, I feel it always be an issue for me because I have a voice in the back of my head that is constantly looking for an excuse to get high. Yeah. I mean, you have to, whenever you want to end addiction, you're just gonna have to get sick and tired. You have to get sick and tired of being sick and tired. That's just all it is. Um, either yeah, just like with homelessness or anything that is undesirable per se, you have to get to a point where I'm ready. You can't be halfway ready. You can't be thinking about getting ready. You got to be
Yeah,
ready
100%.
100%. But you have to also understand that you're human and you will more likely have some relapses and some pitfalls. But you have to be in a mindset of, because you're ready, that you can dig yourself out and keep going forward when those times do come. Rose Peacock says, I agree with one and two also. Yes, Tony, fighting the urge. Yeah. Now me ask you this, Tony, is your desire, is it based off of the fear of withdrawal symptoms, excuse me, my withdrawal symptoms, I can't say it, or is it because you're trying to escape something mentally that you don't want to think about, and the drugs make it really easy to do that? So let's see, Love for All says, just lean towards the right decision as much as you can, Tony. Seek out help and take your time. Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, so what was it like for you, Frankie, when you were like, because you know, did your homelessness and your addiction, did it end at the same time, or were you still in it having addiction when you got your apartment, or what?
Okay, so this is crazy
Okay.
because what happened was I was clean for 2 years before getting my before getting my apartment,
Okay.
and this is going back like back when I was, as I said, 24, 25 around. So that's what I was, 2 years clean, and I go in the apartment, and then one day I had a joint, and then that ended up turning into a couple of beers, and then that turned it into, then that started turning into, like doing it down the weekend all the time, and then started getting out of control. So I went off the rails for a while, and then I realized I can't do this because this is not the I didn't like this is the point of why I was in housing anyway, because I wasn't
Mhm.
trying to do that. So I realized what I was doing, and I stopped. And
Okay.
I got on, I got my opiate medications fixed, and once I got that figured out, I'm
Mm-hmm.
telling you, Tish, it helped.
What's it?
It helped with all the aches and pains of all the other drugs, and
Okay.
even with the other opiates. Now I just take my medication in the morning, and
Okay.
and I don't even think about it no more.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. But you have, let's see, but you have the first one. Let me see. Tony says it's more of, I know getting high will in the short term fix my emotion issues and bad feelings. And that is, and Tony also says, I'm an assistant sober living and I have 6 months clean. So I'm well, but the nagging feeling does exist and I'm learning to work on it. Yes,
What
that's
I say to Tony is to keep it up, and no matter what, like no matter what, do not give the urge, and if you do, and this is even what I say, because I'm not going to lie, I've relapsed a few times with, like, have getting drunk one night, and then not doing it for months at a time or something. Like I've sometimes I relapse, like, but nothing major, like not on hard drugs, just the alcohol and the weed. So what I'm saying is, when I relapse, I don't feel bad about it. I stop it, and then I try I try to make a change, and do it differently. And if I can't, and it comes to another time and I do the same thing, eventually you'll get it. You know what I mean? So if
right. Yeah.
you know what I mean, so like as you said, if you really want it, you'll get it. So
Right.
don't go get down. You take one step, 2 steps ahead, one step back doesn't mean anything, or even 10 steps back doesn't mean you're still going back. You
Right.
can still have progress and still go back, and even that even makes you know even more about yourself. So trust me,
Exactly.
just don't give up no matter what.
Excellent point. If you really want to know, if you really want to know the real nitty gritty of who you are as a person, unfortunately, addiction will get you to your lowest self, and all of the dirt and the grime, like all of the manipulation and all of the thoughts and stuff. You really get to dig it out and get it out. It's
Oh
like
yeah,
it's like
it's
it's like when you have an addiction and when you are done, it's like cleaning house, and then you're not just cleaning house on the getting that substance out your system and those cravings. You also getting the worst part of you out as well, because it had to be addressed before you can get to the point of, I'm ready to
yeah,
move
the
with
pain,
this.
the pain that it's gonna be very so painful, and it's gonna be so hard at first. And I'm not talking getting withdrawal. Like the first 3 years is going to be the hardest. It took me 2 years just to even get my mind right again.
Yes, yes, and that's an excellent point. You said it took you a couple of years just to get your mind right, and that's because of what Mary was saying earlier. Was it Mary? I'm sorry. Yeah, I think it was Mary. Yeah, Mary. Either way, oh, was it Mary? Oh, either way, I'm sorry, but it's the your mind is rewired. The brain is rewired from the drug, so it does take time for your brain to rewire back to the default setting to where it was, or even better than before. Actually, it's V Hinton. My bad, V Hinton. Let me see. Hold on, I missed a comment. Oh, Love for All said something excellent. Love for All said, it will only be a temporary fix, Tony. What you can try is avoid what gives you the urge and stay away from the wrong crowd. Yeah. So whatever triggers you have, it's like if talking to a certain person is a trigger,
Oh,
unfortunately you gotta back off of them. If
oh,
certain
Tish, I forgot to mention that
what's that?
I I had to give up. I gave up all my friends.
Yeah.
I had so many friends. I was really popular, and
Mm-hmm.
I gave up all my friends, and I had to change my whole lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? Like
What's that?
you can't have one foot in, one foot out. It's either you either
No.
out or you're in. You know what I mean? But
Right.
but but the only thing is that if I say if if you must necessarily do something, try. Like my personal advice is if like just try, and you'll get it
Right.
one day.
Right. And what Tony said is, he said, I don't want to use, but I do fear I have a moment of weakness. And that's okay, Tony. It's okay to have a relapse. It is okay. As long as you're both feet in your mindset of knowing that you don't want to have an addiction anymore, that you want to be in control of your life, that's your 2 feet in. Now everything else is the process of getting off of whatever the drug of choice or whatever the habit may be. But you have to have both feet in, and it's okay if you have a moment of weakness and you really fought it off and you had a relapse. That's what it is. A relapse. It's the nature of the beast. Get yourself up, brush yourself back off, and keep as long as you keep both feet in. Though you gotta do that. We see. Love for All says keep yourself busy. Tony says, I totally agree. I won't let a relapse destroy me. Yeah, it's just a relapse. It's just like V said, it's a chronic disease. It's like a cancer when it gets to a point. Okay. And with cancer, when you treat it, you're gonna have some victories and sometimes you may have some major setbacks. But whenever you have those victories, that's all that matters and getting to that finish line. So just see it as a cancer, that emotional cancer or whatnot. And also, Tony, you need to work on what are your triggers, as in emotionally, what is it that you're trying to escape from? You have to address that, or you always going to be open for a relapse. You're never going to get rid of that cycle of what is causing the addiction in the first place if you don't get down to what is the emotional cancer that you have. V Hinton says, Tony, you will need to get some counseling for. Oh, that's what V Hinton. Yeah. Um, Tony, you will need to get some counseling for your emotional state. and the pain you suffer. When we try to self medicate to get rid of those feelings without seeking professional help, we fail. Yep,
Yeah, like
exactly.
that's very true because when I was personally in active addiction, I went through AA, I went through NA, but you know what? Honestly, I even went to rehab once and didn't even finish it, but that didn't do nothing for me. Personally, it didn't do nothing for me, but you need to try the you need to try the step programs, and if you're not into that, try getting counseling, mental health like mental health services, do addiction counseling. There's a lot of service out there, so if you don't look, you're not going to find anything. So
Right.
this won't happen if you sit around and do nothing. You have to find it yourself. You have to do the work. And the people like the social workers and the counselors, they only can give you assist you. But at the end of the day, you're the one driving, so you
Right.
have to work. You know.
Right. You can't be a baby about it. I've done
Is-
like a motivational video about that. You can't be a baby. If you
And
know,
and 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 sometimes it takes a while, but just like reach out because if it takes a while, at least you've done it and it will happen in the future. Because if you don't, it won't never happen. So you know what I mean?
yeah, I love what Love for All says. They say you don't even have to be addicted to drugs to let go of people who don't mean you well.
That's true.
No, that's a you ain't never lie. Toxicity is toxicity. You're right. B. Hinton says exactly, Miss Tish. Triggers can cause relapse. Yes, they can. Yeah. So I mean, a lot of times with addiction, Tony, though, you just gotta keep it 100 with yourself. You gotta know a lot of people are just so fake and so phony, even with themselves. But if you have an addiction, if you're a phony person, you're just gonna stay in that addiction. You have to just, like I said, it's emotional, cleaning out as well when you have an addiction. That's the only good thing about having an addiction. A lot of times, if you do it right, and you may agree with me, Frankie, if you do it right, you come out on the other side a better person than you were before. And I know
That's
that
true.
and I know that from personally because I would have, I had in my issue with opioids and stuff from a surgery I had, went through it for like a decade, but I would have never been bold enough to, and even probably even to be honest with you, care enough to talk and to ingratiate myself with the homeless community if I didn't go through all of that crap I went through with having an addiction. I would not have. So even though I wish I didn't have to go through it, but I do appreciate that it made me a much better person than I have been beforehand.
And it
Um,
makes you a lot stronger. You know, it builds on your
yes,
character.
yes, it does. Yes, it does. Yeah. So, what do you have to say about that, Frankie? That did it make you a better person, and how so?
In a way, it made me it made me a gooder person,
Hmm.
but it made me a more clever person at the same time because even though I don't actively and say, oh, I need this to, I always in my mind, I'm still always trying to get ahead and trying to like get the fastest way done, and I always try to like try to try to make things happen, and not in that mind space of what you used to do back in the day, but kind of like you always like plotting and you always like you know what I mean. It's like
Right.
you're clever, and you can see ways to achieve things that let's say the average person wouldn't, and you know your strength, so it
Right.
really helps you, you know.
Yeah. And my love for all. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. Let me see what Tony said up front of high. Let me see. You're right. Tony says I left Columbus, Ohio, and went to a small town. I do IOP counseling 4 days a week and do meetings. Okay, that's excellent. V Hinton says, Tony, please stick with it. You got this, and you do. You do have it. I agree. Mr. Love Fall have to go. Take care. B. Hinton says, Ms. Tish, just like the people you interview say they develop depression, schizophrenia, and other mental illness when you are out on the streets for long periods. Yes, that is true. Um, Yeah, and that's a thing too, because I used to think, and I'm gonna ask you this, and then we're gonna go ahead and start to close out, Frankie.
Yeah.
So, which comes first, the chicken or the egg? When it
You know
comes
what?
when it comes to the homelessness, do should the mental health and the addiction be treated first, or should we get them in a home first and then treat the mental illness and the addiction?
You know what? If then if I think that for me personally, when I had a stable home,
Hmm.
that's when I can really work on my addiction because I had a reason. I wasn't on the streets. I was a step up. I had food in the fridge. I had this. So not every day I wake up thinking, oh, my life is I have nothing. I'm sleeping on the sidewalk. So no, I think you should house people the first, and then but the ones that are willing they're willing to do the work, and then and even if the ones who may struggling, give them a chance too. But because if you are on the street, you can't go to appointments, you can't keep your paperwork, you can't
Right,
keep everything out. You know what I mean? You can't keep track of anything because you're always one place or another. You know what I mean? So I feel
right.
like housing. I feel housing comes first, but then again, in some people, they need to get treated before housing to become not normal, but like normal enough to have housing and be part of society again. You know?
Right, and that and now you the same thing you said. That's what Tony agrees with. Tony said, "I feel like a home is first, before chicken or the egg. The home would be first. It's harder to relapse when you have something to lose."
That's true. I agree. I agree.
Right. Yeah. We had to say yes, indeed, Tony. Yeah, I mean, even though people do it all the time, they blow. They get doctors, lawyers, or whoever, business people. They have these big, beautiful estates, and they lose it all for some, drugs or whatever habits of choice they, may be participating in. But yeah, because to be honest with you, when I first started, you know, serving the homeless, I used to think they need no, they need to be treated for their addiction first because they're not going to really keep a house going if they are so addicted. But being homeless is a trauma all by itself. I
That's
mean,
true.
I cannot imagine sleeping, on a concrete, and with no pillow. I cannot imagine leaving my tent for a moment and then I come back. And, raccoons are, that's what they say.
Yeah.
Raccoons are in the tents and eating their food and all the germs and Frankie, they don't even have a bathroom. They have
Yeah,
like
it's,
this
it's
little
bad. It's bad. I can't even. You know what? Now
what?
I'd rather stay sober and not do party and stuff. Well, the not like the hard stuff. I mean, like the weed and the alcohol maybe, but like but the hard stuff, no way. Because you know why? I don't want to be. I remember the times I remember walking around. It was so cold out, nowhere to
Uh,
go, and you would do anything to prevent that. So that's
right.
what also influenced you to stay sober too.
Right. I mean, well, I commend you, and I really appreciate your story more so than I would have, because I've been around someone, like I said, just recently where I thought they were ready. I thought they just need that extra help and that extra mentoring, and then just to find out that they addicted not only to the drugs, but they are addicted to the lifestyle. It's I really appreciate you being able to having the mindset to redesign your life to go back to normalcy and beyond, because it
All I do is try.
yes.
All you
I'm
can do is try.
right. Yeah. We see V said, I work in the state prison here in California. The way many of those inmates make it to the big house because of addiction from the drugs they were selling. Yes. Yes. This is addiction is a real thing. And V Hinton, I asked a poll question on what we would prefer to talk about. Addiction, of course, is my specialty and it's my favorite topic. But the next time we do a live stream, we definitely going to talk about addiction. And just letting people know it is a chronic disease, and it's really sad that people a lot of times when they become homeless, as you may know, frankly, they don't have an addiction, but when you are part of that culture, you're at least gonna end up being an alcoholic, just to like the man said, just to sleep at night, you know. So yeah, we definitely going to get into that. Do you have any last words? And Frankie, like I said, you're the number one. Like I
Thank
said,
you.
you've been so supportive. Whenever the energy is low on my end, just knowing that people like you are there, that
Thank you very
really,
much.
yeah, that really keeps everyone. This keeps me going. So,
And you
uh,
know what? You keep me motivated too. By your videos actually helps me too. So it's a both way street.
oh, thank you, V. Thank you so much. So we have two people now. Thank you. Yeah, so thank you so much. So yeah, so girl, y'all, we are working on, as pharmacist Tish, like I said, we're a nonprofit, we're working. But it's not all about just being so uptight and trying to, just, I want us to be a community. I want us to be a family. I didn't know Frankie from a can of paint. But this channel has allowed me to get to know and just appreciate such love and support. And it really, like, if mama's happy, then everyone else is happy. So y'all don't understand when y'all get me going like this. I mean, the people that I serve, they get so much extra love from me, and they are really appreciate y'all. Y'all, they are really looking at their videos, and that's how I know it's cool because they don't ever complain. They actually watch it and they enjoy it, and they do look at the comments and everything like that. So I appreciate all of the love and support, and y'all give tough love too, and they need that, right, Frankie?
That's definitely.
I mean, because you're homeless and have addiction, are you supposed to, like, you
You're still
know,
human. You're still worth something. You know.
right? And Frankie said the most beautiful thing: you're still human. You're still worth something. If that's not a T-shirt, I don't know what is. Oh, thank you, Tony. Okay, so we have two new channel members. Thank you so much, Tony. Thank you so much, Dee. We say this is an excellent channel. I am glad to be a part of this community. Well, thank y'all so much. And I know you're tired of me kissing your butt, Frankie, but you're my baby. But
Thank you.
but yeah, you're still human and you still worth something. And we're going to end up on that note. All right, so I'm gonna try to do one of these weekly. I'm still working a job as a pharmacist, so that keeps me pretty busy. But I really want to get really to know y'all more, and we're just gonna, I'm really into addiction. I really think that's the root cause of a lot of issues. So we're really gonna start digging deep into that childhood traumas and all that stuff. But either way, thank you, Frankie, for being my
No
co-host.
problem.
And I'll see y'all the next time. Y'all take care. Bye bye.
Right.
Take care.
See ya.